Ooh, welcome back to another episode of the Get Back Coach, presented by Apollo Media. Oh, Jay, do we have an episode, baby? Oh, we are fired up to talk today. Victory laps all around. But before that, Jay, who are we brought to you by?
That's right, Jake. Can't wait to get into this episode. But we are brought to you by Battle Bets. This college football season, we are working with Battle Bets to bring a fun new way to test your college football knowledge against your friends, two fans of the sport. What is Battle Bets? It's fantasy betting exclusively for college football, which means it's 100% free, no money involved. Create a league with your friends and place bets on college football. Bets place bets on college football each week with fake money. You can bet on spreads, over and unders, money lines, and props. Track your bets and earn points throughout the season to win your leagues. BattleBets is also doing giveaways in the community league each week. So track your bets and earn those points. Download the app on the Apple Store, sign up for free, and let BattleBets know that we sent you by selecting the Get Back Coach as your referrer in the ambassador section. Again, it's 100% free. There's no actual gambling involved. It's all fantasy gambling. So sign up. Join the BattleBets Get Back Coach League. Join the community league. We'll have links to BattleBets posted on our socials after the show. What a week, Jake. What a week.
It not just for us, Jay, but it was a huge week just for college football in general. And I know we usually go in chronological order, but Jay, you need to kick off this episode because what a win for your Texas A&M Fighting Ags going to South Bend and pulling off an absolute stunner in South Bend.
Yeah. All-time game. I mean, this was just a fantastic back and forth matchup. I was extremely worried when Notre Dame started the game off with a blocked punt returned for a touchdown. That is a blow that A&M has failed to come back from so many times the past few years, especially on the road in an environment like South Bend, where again A&M has not had a ranked non-conference win on the road since 1979 against your Penn State
I
Nittany
know.
Lions, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it's been over 10 years since they had their last ranked win, conference or non-conference. So to go out and do it, I mean, the A&M offense looked incredible. Mario Craver has been a revelation this year. Goes for over 200 yards, 86, I think was that first touchdown he had. A little fun fact for you that my co-host on the Aggie Ward Prod brought up for Mario Craver. I think he had 137 yards after the catch, which I think that's more receiving yards than A&M had in the entire game against Notre Dame last year. It comes down to the end, right down to the wire. A&M has a 12-play, 75-yard drive to go ahead. But on the ensuing extra point, Tyler Buckner has trouble with the snap, and Notre Dame doesn't get the extra point. A&M would return the ensuing kickoff for a touchdown. That's called back. So A&M has to drive the length of the field. They get down into Notre Dame's doorstep, and with a 4th and goal from the 11-yard line, Marcel Reed hits Nate Borkircher in the end zone. The tight end comes down with the big grab. A&M makes the ensuing extra point, and they come away with one of the biggest wins for this program for a while, and certainly the biggest road win that they've had in a long, long time. Massive for this team, and really a big showcase for an offense that has completely revamped itself after a little bit of a disappointing 2024 campaign. This offense feels like it can score with anybody.
I know, and that is Texas A&M's strength. I mean, you know throughout this year so far, and for the future, they are going to be an offensive team. We've seen it. I really like what Marcel Reed is doing. I thought coming into this year, I thought he was going to take a step forward. It looks like he has. Notre Dame just loses another one. Listen, here's the thing, and a lot of people are complaining about, Notre Dame's ranked and they're 0-2, and this is why I don't love rankings at the beginning of the year. However, you have to also take into account Miami is pretty good, actually, and we're going to talk about this. Miami might look like is now the favorite to win probably the ACC at this point. And then you have Texas A&M, a team that I think most people are thinking is going to be in that playoff conversation, at least to get close to it. So you have two quality losses. Notre Dame is going to bounce back. We're talking, very highly of Texas A&M's offense. I think we should. A little worried about Notre Dame's defense. A little bit. Listen, no offense to Mr. Chris Ash, but Chris Ash is not Al Golden, and I think we kind of see that. But again, Notre Dame started off slow last year. They get better as the year goes on. A&M though, that is huge for you guys. Happy for you. Happy for all the Aggies that listen. That absolutely huge. And Jay, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We can't get ahead of ourselves. But are you thinking about it? Did it make you think about it?
Oh, I'm definitely thinking about it. I can't help but have the hope.
I know the hope is coming in full effect, and I said at the beginning of the year I would not be surprised if this Texas A&M team finds their way in it. But long way to go. But Jay, huge for you guys. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and a lot of big games left to kind of build off of. You'll come out of the bye week. Next week you have Auburn, who has a big game with OU coming up. Auburn looks good so far this season. You have Mizzou, who looks like they've improved with your boy Bo Prabula at quarterback. You have, Texas, who looks to be struggling a little bit offensively, but still has one of the best defenses in the country. You have LSU, who looks like they've improved defensively. So a lot left to talk about for this A&M team. We got some comments coming in the chat already. I appreciate the shout out for that big victory. I mean, just a massive showing again. I do worry about A&M's defense moving forward. Obviously, I don't think they're going to face anybody quite like the backfield that Notre Dame had with Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love, two of the best backs in the country. You also look at the safety play, which I don't think was great. I thought the corners looked good. I thought the linebackers looked good. And really, I thought the defensive line looked good for a lot of the game. Cassius Howe flashed as well. But just the being able to kind of set the edge is still something that A&M needs to work on. And then having those guys over the top in the safety play in the passing game is something that I'm going to be concerned with moving forward, but definitely a lot to build on. And Jake, in these comments, it looks like there's a Pitt mention. I can't help but notice that you have a West Virginia shirt on.
I do.
How was the backyard brawl?
So this is my third backyard brawl in a row. I missed the one in Pittsburgh. Thank you. Thank God I wasn't there for that one. But I was at the last three. This one here, I think this is the one that I think the West Virginia fans are going to hang their hat on, and rightfully so, for a couple of reasons. One, the rivalry is going dormant for about 3 years. So West Virginia gets the last laugh. Okay. So I love that. And two, last year, West Virginia blew that game. West Virginia had that game in Pittsburgh. They had it won. And unfortunately, Pitt, Eli Holston rallies the troops back and they win. I feel like this one avenges that loss because I hate to say it. I think Pitt is the better football team. I think they are. And I think they look like the better football team for 2.5, maybe 3 whole quarters. But West, by God, Virginia pulls off a double-digit comeback. And Jay, here's the thing for the people who did not watch this game. Rich Rodriguez was trying out quarterbacks in the third quarter. What West Virginia has a lead, and you have Scotty Fox, true freshman, come in. You have Henderson then come in after that. Scotty Frost throws 2 picks on their own 20 in deep in Pitt territory. Sets up for 2 Pitt field goals. And I felt, Jay, you felt just the pit in everyone's stomach in Milan Puskar Stadium.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, uh, the pit in their stomach. I'm sitting by, West Virginia alums. Again, I've adopted West Virginia. Okay, I love their basketball team. I love, um, I live there, so like I have adopted them. I'm not a diehard, but I'm sitting next to these people as West Virginia is up by 10 scores and then goes down by 10, and everyone is just that collective. Oh no, here we go again. They're gonna get three. We're gonna lose this series 3-1. Um, and then Nico comes back in, leads them, gets a field goal, get a big stop, and then it was probably the most energy I felt in that stadium maybe ever. And I was in the upper deck, so I could only imagine how it was in the student section closer to the field. And man, it just felt great. And those people there, listen, I don't know if there is a more tortured fan base in college football than West Virginia throughout their. Well, you have a claimant to that as well. But West Virginia fans are, some of them might be Pittsburgh Steeler fans, but man, that whole state rides and dies by the Mountaineers. And for them to get that win is huge for them. Rich Rod is back. Listen, he's going to make people pull out their hair, but man, when it's working, it's a lot of fun. And man, it was a special night, and I am so glad I was able to be a part of it.
Yeah, and that's something that's really interesting because I think we've seen Rich Rod do this before, where he's kind of mixing in different quarterbacks at Jacksonville State. It's something that makes me scratch my head a little bit because I'm always subscribed to if you have two quarterbacks, it means you don't have one quarterback.
Yeah.
That's something that I've always kind of subscribed to. Three is even worse in that mind, but this is a massive win. I think part of West Virginia, losing to Ohio last week is probably a little bit of looking ahead. I think that we can kind of chalk that up. Ohio is also just a very good team. They took Ohio State into the third quarter and was competitive with them. But man, this is it feels like a massive program win for West Virginia, something that they can really build off of. I still don't think West Virginia is going to be competing for the Big 12 title this year. But they're going to surprise some teams, certainly in Morgantown, because this is a hard-nosed football team that is going to play with a lot of grit. And obviously, the resilience they showed to pull off that comeback win, massive for the Mountaineers.
It's that hard edge that Rich Rod is talking about, the hard edge. It's huge. Listen, I'm still not high on West Virginia to close, like, as this year goes on. But here's the thing. You will give up that Ohio loss to beat Pitt, 100%. You make that trade 10 out of 10 times. I also want to shout, I think, Blue Lot, by the way, I always say it, pound for pound, one of the best tailgate lots in the country. I mean, just if you're talking about just specific lots, it's absolutely incredible. I was walking into the stadium, and Jay, I just want to shout out, I believe it was the RV with the caterpillar flag. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The construction caterpillar. I think it was him, or was the RV next to it. I had the best burger in my entire life. Like literally my entire life, I had the best burger. So if anyone's listening, check that out.
Yeah, and that's the tailgate spot it's part of the love of college football. It's part of what makes it so special. But moving on from West Virginia, we're going to the ACC. Georgia Tech with a 55-yard fire drill field goal, by the way, to win the game against Clemson. I thought that Georgia Tech had gotten themselves into a little bit of trouble with their clock management there at the end. Turns out Brent Key knows a little bit more about football than I do. Not surprised by that. Just an incredible win for Georgia Tech. Haynes King, again, tougher than a $2 steak. I can't help but wonder what he would have done in an A&M offense coached by Colin Klein. Happy with Marcel Reed, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, what Haynes King has done at Georgia Tech and what Brent Key has done with that program, just – this is a hyper physical, hyper gritty, just tough out every time they get on the field. Really fun team to watch play. And Bobby Dodd was just over the moon. Seeing him rush the field when that field goal was hit. I mean, this was a heck of a way to kick off a great day of college football.
It was. Listen, I think we were during the Georgia Tech a couple years ago. We were talking about them and their identity. Okay, they didn't have an identity after Paul Johnson leaves. They're kind of searching for it. They found it. They are a tough team that is going to be physical. And I still don't know how Haynes King gets up every morning after being in games like that. And I'm still worried about him, because he's kind of their golden goose. Like he is their team. Brent Key, there isn't enough we can say about Brent Key. He is he has rejuvenated that program. And yeah, Bobby Dodd absolutely rocking. Jay, I watched this on Sunday morning. So I know the kick goes through, but I'm like, oh my, like it was almost poetry in motion. Just like everyone setting up and the fire drill, kind of reminiscent to TCU and Baylor a couple years ago. However, no offense to our Baylor fans, Clemson holds a little bit more weight, and now you have Clemson at 1-2, and you have an ACC that's wide open right now.
Yeah, it is extremely wide open. Did you catch any bit of Dabo's press conference today?
No, I did not. Did you? I'm guessing
He
you
I
have.
didn't see all of it, but he was pretty fired up with some of the questions that he was asked. He said he's going to keep on coaching football. If they want him out, they can kick him out of there. He's going to be coaching. He's not going to the beach anytime soon, I think was what he said. So obviously tough things happening there in Clemson. But you did have a couple of tough games to start the season. Obviously, LSU, very tough opponent. This Georgia Tech team, I think I had them in my surprise category for the ACC. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm going to go ahead and pat myself on the back a little bit. But yeah, this Clemson team, and we've got a comment here in the chat. We'll pull it up on our own screen. As far as it being the final straw in the coffin with Dabo, personally, I don't think so, because this is still a team that could very much make their way to the ACC championship and win it. There's still a lot of talent there. I just think there's a lot of questions about this offense. I think this offense has not taken the step forward that we envisioned this year. You worry about the development of Cade Klubnik, how that's going to keep going through the seasons. But, it's still a pretty open conference. Miami looks like the clear favorite. But who knows what can happen moving forward.
Yeah, and I think these Dabo teams, they play better down the I feel like they keep getting better as the year goes on. And listen, Dabo's a good coach. You can laugh at him all you want with his some of his sanctimonious stuff, but Dabo's a good football coach. Yeah. He's a good coach. Clemson is lucky to have him. And again, I hate to say it, but if Clemson's if Clemson goes, let's say 9-3, and they're like, you know what? I think we need a change. I think the rebuild at Clemson is a lot tougher than people think when you have that big of a culture shift. But we will see. I still like Clemson. I think they're still going to be a very good team. Also, those Georgia Tech uniforms, Jay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
And just for a record on Dabo, worst season that he's had since taking over the job in 2008. Clemson went 6-7 in 2010.
Okay.
Since then, it's over 9 wins every year. 9 wins in 2023 being the worst year of that stretch. So
I remember talking about them. We're like, oh man, Clemson's really down. It's like, oh, they went 9-3.
Yeah.
Go figure. That's real, That's how well he's done there. That 9-3 is like, oh, that was the bad year.
And tons of conference championships, even
Yeah,
in bad years.
exactly. Then we go to Knoxville. Georgia goes into Knoxville, beats Tennessee 44-41. Jay, this was maybe the wildest game of the year so far. Like, this game was absolute banana land. Two quarterbacks just battling, a lot of drama. Tennessee with a missed field goal. Um, you know, calls a reverse, or call reversed. Georgia wins the game on the call reversed at the end. Chris Brazel, 3 touchdowns, monster game for him, for Tennessee. But Jay, I gotta say, I was kind of impressed with Gunnar Stockton. I thought Gunnar Stockton looked pretty good in that game.
I think this shows you what he's capable of. And, he can wear different hats depending on what the
Mhm.
situation asks of him. I think most of the time, you're not going to be asked to do that. But when Tennessee comes out, guns firing like they did in quarter
Mhm.
one right away, and you're going to have to get into a little bit of a shootout, he was able to turn it on. Just again, a wild back and forth game. I mean, I looked up and I think it was, 5 minutes into the first quarter and it's 21-14 already.
Mhm.
Like, just that kind of
Yep.
absolutely insane matchup. Both of these teams putting up absurd numbers offensively. Rocky Top is blaring in Neyland. Ultimately, Georgia does get the win. And, this is a big momentum building win for them.
Mhm.
Tennessee kind of has to, see how they react to that, right? Like, it's tough to lose a game like this and find your composure.
Mhm.
But I've said it. I'm a fan of Josh Heupel and what he's done at Tennessee so far.
Mhm.
I think I'm higher on Tennessee than I was going into this one.
Absolutely. And I think, listen, Tennessee loses Nico, and that now has Joey Aguirre, who we've seen at App State. Uh, he's looked good too. I don't think Josh Heupel gets enough credit for being the offensive mind that he is. I really, and again, I root against Tennessee almost every chance I get. I love Josh Heupel. I really, really do. I wish he was a coach somewhere else so I can root for him more. But he is. I think he's doing such a great job with Joey Aguirre. I think that team has a chip on its shoulder. And Tennessee's another team I think to watch out for in these coming weeks. I think this is still a very good football team. But Georgia proving, hey, we can win in a shootout too. And I think that is huge for their confidence boost of this Georgia offense that sometimes isn't as sharp as probably they should be.
Do you worry about this Georgia defense moving forward?
I don't think so. Not yet. Not yet. I think this is more that had more to do with Tennessee being good. Tennessee's offense just looking very nice. And listen, that Brazel, man, those 177 yards, like those are all huge. Those are all big plays.
Yeah.
That's a matchup there. So I think they tighten some things up, and I don't think that a receiver. I think very few receivers are going to be able to do that to Georgia.
Definitely. We'll see what happens for the rest of the SEC slate. But
Mm.
sticking with the SEC, LSU beats Florida 20-10 in Death Valley. 5 interceptions for DJ Lagway.
Not good.
Is this the end for Billy Napier?
It's getting extremely hot for Billy Napier, and the problem with Florida is their schedule is super tough.
Yeah.
Their schedule, so it doesn't do them any favors. And like, I don't think Florida is terrible. I just think they're not great and they don't have it. Then their schedule is tough. So now instead of having a 7-5 Florida team, which I think is in a normal year what they'd be, I think now you're going to be like, we're fighting to stay bowl eligible Florida.
Yeah.
I think Billy Napier is probably out eventually. But I mean, here's the thing with Florida. You have all the resources of Florida. You got money, You have a crazy fan. You have, I think, everything. And I think at Florida, you can compete with some of these other teams with deep pockets. Um, and yeah, it's not looking great for Billy Napier. I don't know what's going to happen. We are going to talk about some firings eventually, but I think it's a little bit of a surprise that Billy Napier wasn't the first one gone.
Yeah.
You know.
For the next 5, by the way, for Florida, top 10 teams.
Woo! Well, hey, if you upset 2, that's going to buy you some time. If you upset 1, it might buy you some time.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
No
We got some scores from other games to kind of run through a little bit. Thursday night, NC State pulls away from Wake Forest. Jay, probably the highlight of this game is a food truck caught on fire outside of Wake Forest Stadium and created this big smoke fog like aesthetic.
Hey, listen, you got to be able to deal with the elements.
Yeah. Wake Forest was up in this game. NC State, though, kind of controlled the second half to take it over. Jay, do you want anything else with
CJ
Wake?
Bailey, big fan of that.
Yeah.
The kid for North Carolina State. Feels like North Carolina State always kind of has like a quarterback lurking in the wings. It's a really solid player. Obviously, going back to like Phillip Rivers, you had Russell Wilson there for a while. There's been some good quarterbacks come through NC State in the past. Interesting to see what they do for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jay, you were on this one. Listen, our hometown, our podcast hometown here, big win for Houston, 36-20. Willie Fritz is building something, folks. Listen, to the people listening to this that are from Texas, that are from Houston. Okay, I am not from Texas. Okay, you could probably tell by my accent. But if you're listening to this and you are from the Houston area, start paying attention to Houston Cougars football. Willie Fritz is building something. Yes, offensively, but they look pretty good on defense too. I'm telling you, Willie Fritz he's building something in Houston. I think Houston football is going to be fun again in the very near future.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them knocking off some of the top teams in the Big 12 moving forward. Jake, you hit the nail on the head. If you are in Houston listening to this podcast as part of the Apollo network of podcasts, you want to be tuning into this Coug squad. It is going to be a fun year at TDECU Stadium. I think you're going to see some big things out of the Cougs and going into next year. Obviously, just going to keep building a program. Willie Fritz is one of the best coaches in the country, in my opinion, pound for pound. He was successful at Sam Houston State. He was successful at Georgia Southern. He was successful at Tulane. And now I think he's going to bring success to the Houston Cougs.
Yep. Sticking in the Big 12, the unluck of the Irish might be a thing. Kansas State goes down again, 23-17 to Arizona. We talked about Kansas State last week. There might be some sort of psychological thing with this losing the first game to being the first team to lose and then having to travel all the way back, and then you're on an idle week, and then you have to play again. I think. And I'm being genuine when I'm saying this. This is not a bit. I do believe there might be something there. However, other side of that coin, Arizona is looking much better than I think a lot of people thought.
Yeah, this is the version of Noah Fafita that we expected to have with Ted McMillan last year. I think he's just playing a much higher level. It's a similar situation to like Jalen Daniels, where he just didn't take the step forward last year that you expected. He feels like he's bounced back a little bit this year. Obviously, you can't talk about this without talking about Kansas State being 1-3 and needing a last second drive or a fourth quarter drive to beat North Dakota, who's their one win, right? So you don't have an FBS win yet. You've lost to Army. Iowa State's not a bad loss. And now you lose to Arizona. I do think that curse has to count for something. Chris Kleeman's not a guy that we had as a potential hot seat guy going into the season. I do think his seat's getting a little bit warmer. I would be surprised if Kansas State moves on from him. He's been pretty successful for the most part, maybe not to the level that Kansas State fans want it, but definitely going to be something to keep an eye on as the season progresses.
It would have to be an absolute dumpster fire locker room is in shambles type of thing. Listen, if Kansas, let's just say, let's play hypothetical for a second. Kansas State goes 5-7. Let's just say they miss a ball, go 5-7. I think it would be extremely foolish to fire Kleiman.
Yeah.
I really think that would be a foolish thing.
My worry is that they see what Colin Klein's doing at A&M and they bring the prodigal son home.
Well, they might also have their eye on that. Here's some others. We don't have to spend too much time on this one. Miami smokes South Florida. Listen, South Florida is still going to be okay in the American. I think this was a hangover game. I think this is a hangover game of we're very high, and now we have to play somebody else that is even more talented. I'm still Bulls are still going to be okay.
Yeah, you have 3 extremely tough games to start the season in Boise State, Florida, and Miami. It felt like a letdown game was coming. Miami is the best of those 3 teams they've played so far. I think USF can still bounce back from this and be a threat in the American moving forward.
Yeah. Vandy just crushes South Carolina. Lenora Sellers does go down in that game, and then South Carolina just kind of took it.
Cratered at home.
Yeah, cratered at home in that. Never mind. I was gonna take a shot. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing
growth.
It.
That's growth, Jake.
I know. I'm not gonna do it.
South Carolina, if we'll see how long Sellers is out for, but if this is the standard of play without Sellers, they're in big trouble in Columbia.
Absolutely, they are. Ole Miss, listen, beats a tricky Arkansas team 41-35. Ole Miss looking good. I don't think Ole Miss is a national title contender by any means. But hey, they keep winning. They're going to push themselves into the playoff conversation. But listen, Arkansas, those pigs are tricky. You got to bring your A game for those Razorbacks.
Certainly, if you're an Ole Miss fan, you remember 4th and 28 and the hilarity that ensued with Arkansas and Ole Miss. Ole Miss a little bit surprising here. Austin Simmons hurt, so you had some quarterback question marks going into this. Trinidad Chambliss was the guy that stepped in at the quarterback position. All-time great name, and led Ole Miss to this win. Not a lot of defense played here, but it was a fun matchup.
Yeah. North Texas, wowie, just woo, beats up Wazoo. The Pac-2 is not looking very good right now. Big win for the Mean Green though.
Yeah, not a pretty sight. Eric Morris was, I believe, an offensive coordinator at Wazoo at one time under Mike Leach. He's an old Texas Tech guy. But we kind of talked about this on the show. We brought up, North Texas hires Skylar Cassidy away from Sam Houston State. You expect that defense to be improved this year. If North Texas can continue to be the offense that we expect them to be and also play complementary football with their defense, this is a team that could sneak up and be super competitive in the American. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yep. Tulane beats Duke. Jay, I want to set the stage here. Duke poaches Darian Mensah from Tulane, poaches him, and then Tulane beats him as he returns home because this game was at Tulane. Tulane wins 34-27. And listen, this goes out. We talked about it with Houston. This goes out to anyone else that might be listening who has a group of 5 team in your backyard. Go to your group of 5 games. Go to them. The group of 5 guys would be very happy that I'm making this public service announcement. But go to your group of 5 games. Look at Tulane. That looked awesome to be in. Go to your games. But huge win for the Green Wave.
Yeah, massive win. We talked about Willie Fritz, what he did at Tulane. Heck of a job by Tulane going and getting John Summerall. I don't know how long he'll be there, but John Summerall is one of the best coaches in the group of 5 right now. I think he's going to be a hot prospect moving forward. Was super successful at Troy and has already or I shouldn't say turned, has already proven that he's going to be a successful coach at Tulane. Really excited to see what this team does going forward because they have Ole Miss up next, which we'll talk about a
Yep.
little bit later. But yeah, big win over their former quarterback.
Yeah. Speaking of big wins, Jay, the Delaware Blue Hens get a big time win against a regional opponent, UConn, in overtime, 44-41. Good for those Blue Hens. Good for those Blue Hens.
Getting the FBS win, right?
I
I mean,
know.
it's massive for that program. Now I think I understand why Fran Brown made Syracuse run after the UConn game.
Maybe. It makes a little bit of sense. It's like, oh, okay, maybe that is. Still don't like it. But yeah, Delaware. Listen, and you know what's funny, Jay? This is going to be a stretch for me. So NCAA football or college football, EA college football, whatever comes out. Delaware was like one of the most played with teams in dynasty mode just because they're a new team. They're a low level team. So everyone's like, oh, I'll start with these guys. I wonder, because you know how like fandom starts. I wonder if some of these like 10-year-olds that are playing, like these kids playing, I wonder if some of them turn into Delaware Blue Hens. I hope so.
I would love that. And you also have the Joe Flacco tie-in. That's always
Yes.
a shot in the arm if you want it.
Yes, absolutely. A lot. Listen, a lot of those people in Baltimore that cheer for the Ravens, maybe they'll be. Hey, I wonder
Delaware's
how
right there. It
it is
borders.
right there.
You got
It's
the
there.
Delmarva Peninsula.
Delmarva. Oh, very, very nice regionality term there. Yeah, turn on the game. Say, hey, I wonder how those Blue Hens are doing. You know. But now, Jay, it's it's time to talk about something not so cool. First blood in the college football season has hit. Deshaun Foster has been fired from UCLA. Jay, we've talked about Deshaun Foster a little bit. He did go 5-10. I'm a little surprised how bad UCLA looks because they were looking like they were putting something together at the tail end of last year. And I believe that a lot of those guys left, and I don't think they have that same type of fire maybe for Deshaun Foster. It looked like he kind of lost the locker room. I went from not believing to, hey, this might work to, okay, yeah, this you have to let him go.
And it was a tough situation he was put in to begin with, right? Like he
Oh,
kind of hired
absolutely.
at a weird time. UCLA was kind of scrambling. They didn't really know what they wanted to do. But ultimately, you start the season like how UCLA started. You have losses to UNLV and now New Mexico. And that loss to New Mexico, not close at all.
No,
35-10.
not good.
Which shout out to Jason Eck, by the way. A lot of fun to watch him
Very
at
good.
Idaho, and he's
Yep.
doing some good things at New Mexico. But yeah, I mean, this is tough. And this, Deshaun Foster as the head coach at UCLA kind of felt like a band-aid to begin with.
Mhm.
I think I bought in as well last year when it felt like UCLA was kind of putting stuff together. But all of that momentum is gone now.
Yeah.
And I think it was time for UCLA to move on.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't know. I know UCLA has money. They have money. I just don't know with the leadership in the school if they are really selling football hard. And the other problem is your support isn't really there either because look at UCLA games. They have that beautiful Rose Bowl and there ain't people in it. So I don't know what leadership is going to be, but you have to give someone something. Like you have to say, hey, this is what we're investing in football. Because if you're not going to invest in football, that job is not lucrative. You're not going to get a great coach, and you're going to be stuck in this cycle.
Well, I think you look at why Chip Kelly left UCLA to begin with to take an offensive coordinator position,
Yeah.
right? Like there has to be something going on there behind the scenes. I think recently UCLA has been more passionate about basketball and baseball to an extent too.
Yeah, they're
UCLA
good.
has some good baseball out there as well, but it really doesn't feel like football is a huge investment for this this athletic department right now.
Mhm.
If you want to be competitive, eh, it's an arms race.
Yeah.
You have to put it forward. So we'll see what UCLA does with their next hire, and what happens out in Los Angeles.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, like really quick, listen, LeVar Arrington, correct? You know who that man is.
Yeah.
They live out there, and he basically said if they didn't have any ties to Penn State, his kid probably would have went to UCLA. So there's got to be something there to make them say, "Hey, this is attractive." But again, new leadership, we don't know. Jay, this next one hurts me. This next one really does, because I don't know if there is a bigger Brent Pry fan than me. Again, like he good dude, met him I think 2 or 3 times, just super nice guy. I really wanted this to work out. It just isn't, and he was there for long enough where you kind of saw, hey, this is not working. He was 16-24, only one winning season after bowl season. He did have a bowl victory. I do think after Beamer leaves, and Jay, we see this a lot. We saw it at Tennessee.
Saw it at Florida State.
Out of Florida State. We see it a lot in a lot of places where the longtime coach leaves, or a coach that's decent leaves, and now you go in the tank. And I think that's what Brent Pry walked into. And they're not worse. They technically might be a little bit, technically, maybe, but it's just not working out right now. I do think the culture there right now is a lot better, and I think that might help. But listen, Brent Pry is going to get picked up as a defensive coordinator somewhere. He's one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. I think we have to remind people, I do feel bad about all those staffers who are going to lose their job at the end of the year. Because I know we talk about the coaches and the buyouts and all that stuff. However,
there's folks in the recruiting department, the academic athletic department. There are so many moving pieces. There's social media, right? There are so many different moving pieces of a football program that you don't consider. Like, yeah, the top guys, the top coaches are probably fine. But there are so many other parts of an athletic department that deserve your consideration, before you get too happy about somebody being moved on from.
Which I will say, one thing that I did kind of like to see, a little sad, but kind of like to see, when they did announce they fired him, the majority of the responses from Virginia Tech fans were, I hate that it ended like this, because he's like super likable. They like all the comments were like, Brent Pry is an awesome guy. He's just not a head coach. Or Brent Pry is we love him as a person. It's it's not working out as a coach. So I feel like it's not a messy divorce, I don't think, because I think the fans were like, hey, this dude came in and tried and was a good person and good, did all the right things. He just didn't produce wins, and that's what you're judged by.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's tough, but that's the nature of this beast.
You got into it, man. He'll bounce back. The Altoona native will be back somewhere. Jay, tell us about what happened in the FCS world.
Yeah, the game that we highlighted on last week's edition of the FCS, longer than a minute, was Montana and North Dakota. This was an absolute banger of a game. Montana comes back to beat North Dakota 24-23. Really exciting game. And again, one of the most iconic venues in college football. I'm not just saying FCS, in college football is Washington Grizzly Stadium. And we have another Big Sky venue to highlight this week, the Walk-Up Sky Dome, Flagstaff, Arizona. Number 14 Incarnate Word is going to number 19 Northern Arizona. Flagstaff, by the way, one of my favorite cities in the country. Just a great small town, great college environment, beautiful up there, super high elevation. I think it's number 2 after Wyoming as far as elevation. Yeah, but it's a dome.
Yeah, it is a dome.
It's the name, Walk Up Sky Dome.
Yeah.
So going to be interesting to see how Incarnate Word deals with the elevation, Jake. How do they deal with the altitude? Are they going to be able to keep their wind? Definitely going to get an eye on that one. 4 p.m. Central on ESPN Plus. Tune into it. See one of the most unique venues in college football if you get a chance.
I have a dumb question. This might be the dumbest. This might be the dumbest thing I've said since the potato bowl. It's a short drive comment. Does elevation still count if you're in a dome?
It does, yes,
Okay.
because the air is still thinner. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There it is.
Listen,
I'm not a science guy. Listen, I'm not a science.
You got to be willing to ask the questions.
Yeah,
It absolutely still matters. Think about it this way, right? When you
Yeah.
go to elevation, if you're in like a hotel, you're still getting winded walking up the stairs.
Well, I get winded up walking up any stairs now.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. Preview here. Week 4. Friday night. Actually, you know what, Jay? We got to shout out Thursday night. We got to shout out Thursday because the Rice Owls are playing football on Thursday night. And they are taking on Charlotte, right? Yeah, Charlotte. I don't know who's going to win this game. I did love Charlotte. I thought Charlotte would be a surprise team, but we got to shout out our Rice Owls. Watch Rice on Thursday. What are you going to watch? The NFL? No. Watch Rice versus Charlotte.
Yeah. We gave the Cougs a shout out. We have to give Rice a shout out too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Support those Houston teams.
Yes. All right.
Shout
Friday
out to the
night.
Dirty Bird tailgaters, by the way.
Yeah.
Always a fun time when I go see those guys in Houston.
Yeah. Friday night, Iowa at Rutgers. Jay, Iowa is a 2-point favorite on the road in Piscataway. Over under set at 45.5. I under. Yes, I'm also thinking under. However, I thought Iowa would be more of like a 4.5, 5.5, maybe 6-point favorite because I was not really surprised at Rutgers. However, because everyone's going to talk, well, Rutgers struggled with Ohio, but now again, transitive property does not work in college football or really any sport for that matter. But Ohio's looking pretty good. And maybe
Ohio beat West Virginia. They hung with Ohio State until the third quarter.
Yeah.
That is a good Ohio team, in my opinion.
I know. And that's I don't know because I'm in two camps here. One, I was going to win this game handedly. Okay, not a blowout, but like handedly. Because remember, last time I think they went to the East Coast was a couple years ago where the line was this close on a Friday. They played Maryland and they beat Maryland by like 40. I don't think that's going to happen here, but I would say take the under. I think that's a much safer bet.
Yeah, I like the under in this one. I think Rutgers and Iowa both going to play solid defense. Both teams going to struggle offensively. I look at what Rutgers has done so far this year. Yes, you struggle against Ohio. They blew out Miami of Ohio, who really kind of hung tough with Wisconsin. And then Norfolk State, can't read into that one too much. But this should be an interesting one. I think the under is definitely the move here.
Yeah. And then we head to Saturday at noon Eastern time, 10 a.m. Mountain time, Jay?
10 a.m. Mountain time, 10 a.m. local.
10 a.m. local, yeah. Texas Tech at Utah. Utah is a 4-point favorite, over under set at 5.5. Jay, I think I'm going to run with the Utes. Everyone's talking about Texas Tech. Texas Tech is looking great. Texas Tech. I think Utah, Kyle Whittingham, give me the Utes.
Yeah, and I've been on Utah this year for a Big 12 contender. I think they win here, but I'm really interested to see how Texas Tech looks on the road at Rice Eccles. I think they're glad this isn't a night game at Rice Eccles because that's electric environment.
Yep.
Just ask Lincoln Riley about playing Utah at night.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, though, they did a lot of spending in the portal in the offseason, and a lot of that was focused on the defensive line. You look at Utah and this offensive line, which is, I think, one of the best offensive lines in the country.
Mhm.
That is a super intriguing matchup for me. Cannot wait to see this one play out. Texas Tech, very good on offense. Utah just kind of mirrors their coach. Tough team, hard nosed, physical. Really can't wait to see this because the dichotomy of the two programs, you always think about Utah as a physical defensive team. Texas Tech is kind of the high flying offenses going back to Leach, Cliff Kingsbury, the guys that they've had there. So I cannot wait to see this one.
Dichotomy. Look at you in the big words. Absolutely putting me to shame. um, Arkansas at Memphis. Memphis 5.5 point dogs. Over under set at 62.5. Again, Arkansas frisky team. They have a team that they should be more talented against. And Memphis, listen, Memphis should not be trifled with. Memphis is going to be a tough out in the American. I like the over here though, 62.5.
Yeah, I like the over here too, especially after what we saw out of the Arkansas offense last week against Ole Miss. Memphis is, I feel like they always give SEC teams troubles.
Mhm.
Like I feel like when Ole Miss or Mississippi State make their way up to Memphis, it's always a tough ask for them. I think this is going to be a close one. Ultimately, though, I don't think Memphis is quite as good as they were last year. So I like Arkansas to cover, and I like the over.
Yeah. SMU at TCU. Iron skillet game, Jay. Iron skillet game. 60. Why are you shaking your head?
I am pissed that this is the last Iron Skillet game for a while.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah. This is the last one currently scheduled. Uh, these two programs have met over 100 times, have an
Yeah.
iconic trophy, separated by about a 30-minute drive, Dallas to Fort Worth. And they're not going to be on the schedules moving forward, and it's really frustrating. Obviously, you have the added drama of TCU just hired away Sonny Dykes from SMU,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
so that's where Dykes was before he got to Fort Worth.
Mhm.
Uh, these two teams should play each other. This is one of the great rivalries in the Lone Star State, in my opinion. And the other piece of it is like since the death penalty, these two teams haven't been, peers, right? TCU has been a step ahead of SMU. It feels like now these two teams are pretty comparable. And it's such a bummer that right when this game is getting so good, we're killing off the rivalry.
Yeah.
Just sucks. Not a fan of it.
No.
I am a fan of this game, though. I think this is going to be an absolute banger. I like TCU here. I think Josh Hoover's going to have a big game at home. I just think TCU is a more complete team right now.
I'm also leaning TCU. I think I like the over more. I think I like the over at 63.5 a little bit more than that. But yeah, I think TCU gets it done here. SMU not struggling, but last year I think
It's a bit of a come down year.
it's a come down year. Yeah, it's a come down year. Next up, Auburn at Oklahoma. Oklahoma 5.5 point favorites. Over under set at 49.5. Jay, I hate this.
Jackson Arnold is going back to Norman. Brent Venables
Yeah.
is absolutely going to have a bead on what Jackson Arnold does well and what he doesn't do well. New offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer coming over from Washington State. I just feel like Oklahoma has more edges. Plus, this game being at home in Norman, I like the Sooners 5.5.
I hate this. I like Auburn to cover. And if it went and I want to watch, I am thinking Auburn money line. I
It'll be an
hate it.
interesting one.
I
It'll be an
hate it
interesting one.
because Jay, you look at this. Oklahoma handles Michigan. Again, this is where I'm getting in my own head with the Vegas people. How many people do you think are going to see this line and say, "Oh, Oklahoma handled Michigan. Auburn's not that great. Auburn, they're not that good." I think a lot of people are going to be betting on Oklahoma to cover, and I think that is usually where the underdogs find a way. If you are looking to bet on an underdog this week, I think this one might be your best bang for your buck. Um, Heck, do it on battle bets. You can do it
It's
risk
free.
free. It's
It's
free.
100% free.
Exactly. It's free. Remember, join the big league. Chance for $1,000 after the year. No, I think if you're going to put an underdog money line down, I think this is the one. Auburn.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We touched on this game a little bit already. Tulane at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 12.5-point favorite. Uh, we'll see what happens with the quarterback situation, Austin Simmons or Trinidad Chambliss. But I like Tulane to cover this one. I think Tulane's going to keep it close. John Summerall had success at Troy for a time when they played Ole Miss. I think the final of that game was 28-11. Better caliber of athlete at Tulane. I like Tulane to cover.
Yeah, we're not sure. We're not sure about Austin Simmons. Here's the thing, Jay. You think Tulane's having a hangover right now?
No,
Now, do you think they went in expecting to beat Duke?
I think so.
If that is the case, I think I would lean Tulane. I would lean on Tulane to cover. I'm not sure if they win, but I think I would lean on Tulane to cover here. Yeah, I like that.
Michigan at Nebraska.
Man,
I'm taking the under 44.5.
Under at 44.5, I think is your bet because here's the deal. I don't trust Michigan's offense. We talked about Bryce Underwood. We think he's going to be okay eventually. I just think that their whole skill players are all meh. And I just don't think Michigan's going to score a lot of points. Nebraska, the Black Shirts defensively, listen, their offense hasn't looked great either. So, yeah, I think under 44.5. Does Nebraska get it done? I don't know. Michigan's not ranked anymore, right? Are they out?
I'm not 100% sure. Let me check that.
I think Michigan is out. I'm just asking because of the ranked win thing.
Michigan's 21.
I think I don't know. I think I'm gonna lean Nebraska at home. Yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna bet this, but I'm leaning Nebraska at home and the under. But I think I'm more comfortable with the under. Take the under.
Jake, your adopted West Virginia Mountaineers are heading to Lawrence, Kansas, where they are an 11.5-point dog. Over 54.5.
I have to hide everything right now. I don't love this. You see that line? That's a big line.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about the Vegas people. I think everyone's going to be like, oh, West Virginia just beat Pitt. They're decent. They're going to keep it within 2 touchdowns. And I think I have a bad feeling Kansas is going to absolutely roll, or Kansas is going to pull away at the end. I don't even love the over. I'm stay away. I think you stay away from this game at all costs. I will be rooting for the Mountaineers, but I do not love this game.
Feels like a come down spot for West Virginia. I probably lean Kansas, Jalen Daniels. I feel like this program, were they off last week?
I think Kansas was.
Yeah. Kansas. So if that's the case, they've had a week to stew in their loss to Mizzou. I think I like Kansas here. Moving on, speaking of Mizzou, South Carolina at Mizzou, the Battle of Columbias. You have Columbia, Missouri hosting this one. Mizzou is an 11.5-point favorite here. Again, South Carolina just looked terrible. With no Lenore Sellers. That's a big line, though.
I think South Carolina keeps this close. I'm leaning South Carolina. I'm going to lean South Carolina in this one. To cover. I don't think they're going to win. To cover.
And I feel like these lines should be switched for these two games because Florida at Miami. Miami is an 8.5-point favorite. I think Miami handles Florida pretty easily. And I know we can't apply the transitive property in college football. I know Miami and Florida have both played South Florida. There's a common opponent there. But the reason I'm saying Miami 8.5 is just because Florida has just looked so disjointed. Lagway hasn't taken the steps forward that we expected. There's still some talent at Florida, but the way Miami's rolling, I think this is just going to be a blowout.
I'm leaning Florida to cover this. However, Jay, let's look up the under here really quick because I feel like this is going to be a low scoring affair. Um, Over under set at 50.5. By the way, just letting you know, the line has gone down. The line is now at 7.5. Over under set at 50.5. I want to take the under here at 50.5, and I'm leaning Florida to cover with the hook. If it gets under 7, stay away. But 7.5, I think 7.5. I think Florida's going to keep this one close.
Fair enough. Sneaky good game because these are two teams that are both in the conversation for the Big 12. Arizona State at Baylor. Baylor is 2.5-point favorite at home. This is going to be a fun one, Jake. I'm staying away from the 2.5 and the 59.5, but I cannot wait to watch this one.
Give me Baylor minus 2.5. I really like Baylor minus 2.5. I think Arizona State. I think a lot of stock went into their playoff appearance last year, which, hey, hat off to Dillingham and the boys. I like Baylor minus 2 in this one. I really do.
We'll see. Probably the premier game in the Big Ten as
It
far as
is.
ranked versus ranked matchups.
Mhm.
Illinois at Indiana, minus 3.5. The Hoosiers are the favorite. 52.5 is the over under. I love Illinois. I think Illinois is going to be that fourth Big Ten team in the playoff. I think Illinois wins. I'm taking a money line.
I'm staying away from this because I just want to enjoy this. But Jay, come on, hang on. I want to tell you something. Again, I've referenced the Vegas people again, probably more than any show I think we've done. You don't think that line stinks a little bit? You don't, Jay? You don't think people are looking at how everyone's talking about Illinois? Illinois is the fourth Big Ten team. Illinois is ranked pretty dang high. Indiana's in the 20s, fluctuating. You don't think that everyone's going to be like, oh, Illinois is getting 3.5? What? I think Indiana pulls this out at home, and I think this is going to be a road bump for Illinois, who's supposed to have a huge year. I like Hoosiers in this one.
We'll see. We'll
All
see.
right. All right.
Washington at Wazoo. Wazoo, unsurprisingly, after their
Ugh.
unceremonious loss to North Texas, is a 20.5-point underdog. I don't really know what to expect out of Washington this year, but I do expect them to handle Washington State. Unfortunately, the state of the program in Pullman right now, not great.
That's a lot of points, Jay. That is a lot of points. You see Washington State last week just get absolutely killed by North Texas. I know Washington is a lot better. It's the Apple Cup. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning to, you know, hang on to those 20.5 point spot, but I think I don't think this game is ever in any danger for Washington. I don't know if they cover, but I don't think it's ever in any danger. The Pac-2 does not look good right now. Which, by the way, I think another game we forgot is the Oregon State Oregon, which I think that spread is like 28.5 as well. That's a lot of points.
Yeah,
Pac-2 not looking good.
such a bummer.
Such a bummer.
You know,
Such
if I
a
get $1
bummer.
billion, I'm just pouring it into the NIL funds of both schools because they deserve better.
I mean, yeah. Or maybe with all that money, maybe you can convince people to make you college football commissioner.
And then we go back to the regionality of college football.
We're just gonna go back.
Yeah.
We're just going back to everything. Yeah. All right. We got Michigan State at USC. This game is starting at 11 o'clock at night. USC is a 15.5 point favorite. I think Michigan State hangs. I like USC to win. I think Michigan State keeps it a little close. But oh my Lord, 11 p.m. start for Eastern time, 10 p.m. start for Michigan Staters. I like USC to win. I like Michigan State to cover.
Spartans and Trojans. You know, I'm a history nerd.
they have to play. Like I think Sickos was throwing it out there that they got to play for like the Trojan horse or
Yeah,
something like.
we have to get that going
Have
at
to.
some point.
Why aren't they playing for? You have Big Ten doesn't care about creating trophies. Penn State, Michigan State play for a block of wood that someone made in shop class in like 1994. Okay, these two teams can play for something.
I like the idea of making like the Trojan horse a trophy here,
Yeah,
especially now that they're in the same conference. Listen, 15.5 is a wild,
that's a lot.
it's a lot for me.
Too much.
I don't know how good Michigan State is. Like I feel like this is going to be a tough team. Jonathan Smith, good coach.
Mhm.
I think they're going to hang tough with the Trojans. I'm going to take them to cover.
I just remembered. This is shout out my boy, my Michigan State guy, Dougie, from Michigan State. They're banged up really bad.
Okay,
I just
USC.
remembered.
I'm rescinding what I said. So
Yep, I just remembered. Michigan State. I can't find the text. Michigan State is pretty banged up. I think they said Nick Marshall will be fine, but like they're banged up, and I think I think I want to say 2 offensive linemen too. So I think that might sway you.
especially coupled with how late the kick is. I could be wrong, but I think East Lansing may actually be on Eastern time.
Oh, really?
We'd have to pull up a map.
Listen, I'm not good with that. You know, I'm not.
Time zones are confusing anyway.
Time zones are confusing. And Jay, we ended with the game you will be attending. Tell everyone about it.
Yeah, that's right. For those of you keeping track, this is the 4th year of the Sinjay Away Poll. Just a super fun trip every year. The first bye week of A&M season, I set up a little bracket, little poll for people to vote on, game by game until the end when there's one game standing during Texas A&M's bye week. This year, the winner is ULM at UTEP. The Sun Bowl has been talked about when we had Mike Parker on College Football Campus Tour on. We've had multiple people on talk about the Sun Bowl as one of the venues that you absolutely have to see as a college football fan. Super excited to finally be crossing that off. Hey, UTEP didn't look bad against Texas either. That
They
defense,
didn't.
the
They
defense
did
looked pretty
not.
good. Scotty Walden is one of the most energetic coaches I've ever seen. Really love the enthusiasm that he brings to life and to college football. Cannot wait to get out to El Paso to see one of the most scenic venues in college football, to take in this game. UTEP -3.5. That's the line. Hey, a little fun fact for you, Jake. I've seen 3 games for the Sinjay Away trip so far.
Mhm.
West Virginia beat Baylor at home. South Dakota Mines beat Fort Lewis College at home.
I know.
Montana State beat Idaho at home. So home teams are undefeated so far. I'm knocking on wood, but I like the UTEP Miners in this one.
Yes.
Coinciding with this week, I also do like a little fundraiser. If you want to participate, all you got to do is donate to a food bank of your choosing. Let me know. Send me the receipt and let me know who your school allegiance is. I'll keep track of that. Announce the winner at the end of this week. I'm only doing it for a week this year. Got to be honest with you, it was a lot to keep track of over the month. The last 2 years I did it, but we've raised over $22,000 the past 2 years.
Awesome.
For food banks around the country. One of the coolest things that I'm lucky enough to be a part of, and I cannot wait for both this game and to see the generosity of internet strangers again. Love folks around the country pitching into this. Man, I'm pumped up. I'm fired up for this one, Jake.
No, I mean, absolutely, you should. Listen, the Sun Bowl is definitely on my bucket list, and it should be on every college football junkie's bucket list. Okay, just the scenery of that stadium. I remember watching old Sun Bowls when I was a kid. People would be on the mountains watching the game. It's really cool. It's one of those little, just those little unique niches that makes this sport absolutely fantastic. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I will be posting a lot of pictures. I'll have some bonus content, a lot to talk about for this one. Again, can't wait to see Scotty Walton and the Miners out there. This is a program that I'm excited to see the future of, and I think it starts with this game.
Absolutely, it does. Jay, before we send everyone away, I forgot to mention a little nugget of information from that West Virginia game. I don't know if you heard this. This is how like the universe. This is the way the universe works. Okay, I don't want to bring up bad memories for West Virginia fans, but when West Virginia was going to potentially play for a national title in 2007, they lost to Pitt, which was Rich Rodriguez's last game. Okay. Do you remember the score of that game?
13-9.
13-9. Okay. Rich Rodriguez, his next game to play Pitt, where West Virginia has a big defining win to start off his career, or sorry, his return. What was
9-13. Numerology.
How crazy is that?
That's wild.
The universe works in mysterious ways. Jay, I have an absolute blast with you every single week. Land this plane for us.
Folks, we appreciate each and every one of you who tune into the Get Back Coach podcast. Again, super thankful to have Battle Bets on board this year. Join it if you can. Let them know we sent you. If you enjoy this podcast, rate us 5 stars. Give us a like. Tell a friend. Give us a follow. Subscribe. Do all the things that help us grow as a podcast. We love watching college football with each and every one of you. Just talking ball, talking shop. It makes our day, makes our week so much better. And we appreciate all your support over the years. We'll see you next week.
From everyone at the Get Back Coach.